Can we have apologies and declarations of interest, please, David?
Convener, we have apologies from Councillor Brooks to be substituted by Councillor Wilson. So we'll move to a roll call. Can the following councillors please indicate if they're present at the meeting? Councillor Armstrong.
Present in the chamber.
Councillor Curley.
Present in the chamber.
Councillor Jackson.
Present in the chamber.
Councillor Long.
Present remotely.
Councillor McCabe.
Present chamber.
Councillor McCormick.
Present remotely.
Councillor Maguire.
Present.
Councillor McVeigh.
Present remotely.
Councillor Moran. Councillor Robertson.
Present remotely.
Councillor Wilson.
Present remotely.
Are there any declarations of interest? No. Okay.
Thank you. Next on the agenda, item 2, which is revenue outturn, and it has been talked to you by David Bob. David.
You can do this is the final report of the 25-26 reporting cycle and reflects the performance against budget of the service committees. So the report highlights that the unaudited accounts have reported an underspend of £2.959 million for the year. This is an increase of £396,000 from that reported at period 11. This represents a 1.69% underspend against the revised budget, with the main areas of over and underspend highlighted in paragraphs 1.3 of the report, with further detail in appendices 1 and 2 to the report. The movements since period 11 are primarily in relation to lower than anticipated non-domestic rate on empty property release and an increase in income within those operations. The overspends are as detailed in paragraph 1.3 and appendix 2 of the report, with additional pressure of 35,000 already being included within the 26-27 budget in relation to PCN income. Further details of the 25-26 outturn will be submitted to the relevant service committees, with any underlying trends behind the variances being reflected in the budget control reports throughout 26-27. That's the questions.
Thank you, David. Anyone any questions on the report? David? Councillor Curley.
I suppose it's just for clarity. Obviously, the underspend is obviously part of the budget process, and so obviously that's obviously been taken account of with respect. My understanding has been taken account with respect of the 26-27 budget and ongoing other assumptions.
So you're correct that part of the underspend was previously considered by council back in March, and £2 million was earmarked to support loan charges, but this is obviously additional underspend which have come up towards the end of the year, and the utilisation of these funds will be considered by council as part of the 27-28 to 29-30 budget considerations over the coming months.
So just from my understanding, that means there's about £500,000 improvement to what was previously notified through the budget process.
Well, there's actually a total of 2.9 million additional that can be considered as part of the budget process.
Right. Thank you. Yes.
Okay. Okay, happy agree recommendation.
Agreed.
Item number 3 is the capital programme outturn, and again it's Matt Thornton.
You've been on some of the last reports as the last capital report cycle. And the reports detailing the final outturn for the year. Draw your attention to 1.4. I want to get that report on. We were outcome at 0.1% advancement, which is about 29,000, so I think that's probably the closest we've ever been. I would caveat a slight loss here, probably 1.5 about the capital contingency. So within the outturn, we did have around about 900,000 contingencies that were used. So that without that, we could advance a lot of projects to balance that off. We're reviewing how to put contingencies. We don't think contingencies should be in as a budget in the year, and they should really be drawn down later, so we face the later years, and that would hopefully stop skewing the figures and we would have without that. 1.6 was going to come in the external projects. There was issues obviously there with the recent review project. Delays in there, it is clearly now on site. progressing well, so that should see improvement this year as well. New bits of government dependencies 1 to 4 also in section 3. I've been intending to do them all in detail for them. We've got any questions on it?
Anyway, Mark? Mark, can I maybe just say on 3.8, 3.9, you know, the different increase in costs across the industry, and obviously the difficulty attracting contractors. I would think we've kind of got a handle on that at the moment. Is it getting any worse or better since the report?
You know, all the one year my technical colleagues to help me there, but certainly we had issues previously with COVID. The Ukraine situation caused that it has settled down a bit since then. Clearly the situation in Gulf and building matters. We do see it settled down, we do seem to be progressing capital quite well. I'd have to maybe Eddie to be here today. They're very constant.
Chief Executive?
Through the convener, it's safe to say since COVID, the construction sector has shrunk, and it is also safe to say that there are regular failures. It's almost on a weekly basis of large construction companies going out of the business or going into liquidation. So it's a very, very challenging marketplace, but with the interventions that we have, we are able to attract contractors to empower and continue to deliver effective movement.
Thank you. Councillor Wilson?
Yeah, thank you, convener. I go to 3.10. I notice that we've contributed a total of 5 million to the general fund reserves. My question is, the largest expenditure we seem to have in the go at the moment is the Central Greenock project. Is it within budget?
At the moment it's projected within the budget. There have been some cost pressures in there, but the team's containing that within existing envelopes, as far as I understand.
Did you hear that, Councillor Wilson?
No, I didn't.
Apologies, Councillor Wilson. Yeah, there's a large budget in there. There have been some pressures, but the meeting team are containing the existing pressures in there within the existing budget at this time.
So yes was the answer.
Yes is the answer.
Thank you.
Thank you, David. Item 4 is the Treasury Annual Report, and David.
Thanks again, convener. So this report fulfills the statutory requirement to consider an annual report on the Treasury Management investment activities of the Council each year. So the report confirms that Council has operated within the limits and prudential indicators set out in the Treasury strategy agreed by Council in March 2025. The main highlights include overall borrowing increase of just short of £6 million, and that's been due to additional borrowing to support the capital programme. The Council continues to maintain an underborrowed position due to the ongoing policy of delaying new external borrowing by utilising internal cash balances, thereby limiting the Council's exposure to high interest rates. And this is aligned with the majority of new and replacement borrowing, which is being taken over a short-term basis to manage these interest rates. At the same time, the accelerated reduction of the Bank of England base rate during the year resulted in lower than anticipated returns on investments, which averaged 3.8% compared to the target of 4%. Happy to take questions.
Anyone? Dave, can you explain 3.9 about the under borrowing? You know, it says it can't go under borrowing against the capital financial plan. The under borrowing means can't using cash it already had. TV, but we want explanation for that.
Yes, so as members will be aware, the Council has a number of earmarked reserves available that have been earmarked for purposes over a number of years. And these are not always required during the year. Some of them are for longer term projects and will only be drawn down in future years. Just to save incurring interest costs by borrowing money just now to support capital programme, we reuse those reserves and then only borrow at the point of necessity, and that limits the exposure to the interest rates.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Happy recommendation report.
Sorry.
Oh, sorry. Late that.
Yeah. Thanks. Thanks, Community. I think obviously it's a it's a report that we get every year, as you say, and it's obviously a report that gives us a lot of information about the long term. We also do a lot of refinancing of our debts, and it's as part of the process of treasury management to ensure that we have a long term a strategy for that. And obviously, we've highlighted it in the report under borrowing, and also at the moment we're doing a lot of short term borrowings to see if we get a bit more favourable rate. See the table in 3.18 where it talks about our loans. Is that actually our debt? Is that our loan repayment based on our existing loans that we'd have to refinance when they actually at that point in time, or is this including debt and this including interest and capital?
Through you, Convener. It's a little of both, to be honest. What that table represents is at a point in time, at 31st March, if we stopped borrowing any future money, stopped any future capital investment, and we repaid all the debt on the basis that it had been borrowed, that those are the repayments that would be made over the course of the next, as you see, up to 100 years. So that total £224 million. So that is obviously a point in time that's fluid. So as we borrow money, as we re-borrow money, in order to support the cash flow requirements of the council, those figures are constantly changing. And what we look to do is manage our exposure to when that money has to be refinanced, so that we can limit our exposure to any potential increases in future interest rates. But at the same time, we are legally obliged as a council to have a structured plan for how all debts can be repaid at any point in time, and that is the plan as at that point in time.
No, thank you, that's very useful.
Thank you. Big recommendations? Okay, number 5 is the County Commission local budget. David again.
Thanks again, Convener. So this is a report by the County Commission. It's a retrospective report which looks at the 26-27 budget exercise across all Scottish local authorities. The report itself is attached and it has a number of key messages highlighted in paragraph 3.3. These include a £529 million budget gap across Scotland, a 15% reduction in capital funding, average council tax increases for the year of 7.7%, and an increased risk of financial unsustainability across local authorities. Appendix 1 to the report highlights the position in the case of Inverclyde Council and gives key feedback on each of the messages. So in terms of 4 points raised, the real terms reduction in Inverclyde was a 1.2% reduction in Corgan, and that resulted in a budget gap of £3.9 million. There was a 2% reduction in core general capital funding, which impacted on our ability to invest and manage our assets. Council agreed a 7.9% increase in council tax for the year, and our indicative budget gap going forward for 7.8 is £4.9 million, with a further £11.1 million recognised in the council's finance strategy, and this gap will be addressed in the forthcoming budget exercises. Happy to take questions, Chair.
Any questions on it? No? Yes.
Yeah, thanks. Just turning to Appendix 2 and Appendix 1 with the list of general fund budget and budget gap. And again, it's just for so the £4 million was our budget gap. 0.6 million pounds saved, 3.5 million. Other measures 26.7. So the other measures, would that be use of reserves plus council tax? Right? What is that?
Well, I'm just catch up with that.
So big page.
Yeah, through you, Convener. Yeah, so it's the way that the County Commission categorised them. So the other measures, as highlighted there, relate to the increase in council tax and the fees and charges and use of reserves. So you've got the use of savings, which was just shy of £500,000, and everything else was from the other levers that council has available to.
Is there, I know it's apologies if maybe we should have asked this before the meeting. Is there any information within the report, because I'm trying to see, that actually just has the other measures excluding council tax rise and changing fees, because that was an idea about how much reserves generally other councils are using. I know it's different because everybody classifies it slightly differently. I'm just trying to get an idea about where we stand in that kind of metric.
Unfortunately, not obviously this is a county commission report, so but at their mercy is to what they choose to analyse, and they've not provided analysis for the other 31 councils. So I can only comment on our position.
No problem. Thanks for that.
I thank David. I think, overall the report's quite good, but at the end of the day, the key message highlight 3.3 is something we really need to take cognizance of going forward, I'd imagine. For every council, whether it's this one. So thank that, David. Item number 6 is the Community Council interim elections in Lindsay.
Thank you, convener. This report seeks inclusive approval for the timetable of interim elections in respect of the community councils which have vacancies and wish to recruit additional members. These community councils are as follows: Unit West and Hartlepool Community Council, Larkfield, Bayside and Branchton Community Council and Port Glasgow East Community Council. It's proposed, as usual, to appoint the Chief Executive as the returning officer, and that authority is delegated to the Chief Executive to administer the election. A provisional timetable is set out in Appendix 1, and it is proposed that the committee approves this and grants the authority to the Chief Executive to make such changes to this as are appropriate. The report also takes relaxation of requirements in 2023 scheme of funding for community councils for the rates of the 26-27 community council grant for these community councils. This scheme requires a minimum number of meetings to be held in the last year, and none of the community councils mentioned have met this requirement. This does not appear to be for reasons of neglect or apathy, and there is clear evidence that most community councils have continued to function and strive for communities against particular challenges. To ensure the stimulation and continued support of community council activity in these areas, it is recommended that the community council grant is paid regardless of these shortcomings, and the officers are authorised to waive this requirement. The importance of appealing to the funding conditions will be reiterated to the affected community councils. Happy to take questions.
Anyone? Stephen?
Not so much a question, more of a comment. I mean, I'm comfortable with the recommendations and the report, but I think what this report demonstrates and what I've always thought is that a lot of our community councils are pretty fragile when it comes to sustainability. Even I've got 2 community councils in my ward, Port Glasgow East, and I'm actually going to a meeting at Port Glasgow East tonight, and Kilmacombe and Quarries Village. And even Kilmacombe and Quarries Village, which has been a very active community council for a long number of years, struggles at times to have a large turnout, shall we say, even at the AGM, because there was only 4 community councillors at the AGM, which is basically the quorum. And I know Port Glasgow East that the community councillors who remain are working very hard to try, well supported by our inclusive communities team, to try and make it sustainable. But they have lost some good active members as well, and that is challenging when there's so many demands on people's lives to actually get replacements. So I'm comfortable with us taking this approach and supporting these community councils, although they've not ticked all the boxes. But I still remain of the view as I've had for a good number of years, that I think we've got too many community councils, and that I think that we'd be more sustainable if we had lower numbers. But clearly, when we went through the consultation process previously, there wasn't a desire on the part of the community councils to have fewer in numbers, and we obviously had to respect that. But I think this does demonstrate the fragility, as I say, of some of our community councils. So let's hope that this process is successful and we do get a number of people coming forward, because I think they do play an important role, community councils, and I certainly think that Port Glasgow East benefits by having a community council in the way it hadn't had a community council for about 10 years. And as I say, those who are involved are working very hard to try and sort of represent the community. But it's no easy when there's only 3 or 4 of you. So hopefully we will get more interest, and these community councils will become more sustainable.
All right. On reading the report, I have to say, I was really glad that we know the condition release of the grant. So there's that flexibility within, with the council system we can look at, because you're reading the report, the community council, never the exact number of people, but the ones that they were working really hard to maintain that community council in the areas we talked about. So I was really happy we could keep on supporting them, and through the grant. So well done to the team for the work they've done there to bring our support to us. Well, thanks for that. So number 7 again is update digital modernisation programme, digital customer service, and Lindsay again. And I think we'll get any technical questions. We have Alan, right, Alan?
Thank you, Convener. This is the regular report to committee on the progress of the digital modernisation project board and the activity and performance of the council's ICT and customer services teams. And committee is asked to note the developments in these areas. Members will note that 87% of the initial earmark reserve has now been allocated. Members will also remember that the project for the replacement of the council's FMS system is now also being included in the programme, as has the £1.5 million budget, which was allocated by the members for wider transformation. In terms of the ICT team and customer service team's performance and activity updates, some highlights are mentioned in the body of the report, and Appendix 1 shows the latest attendance statistics. I have to take questions.
Stephen?
Yes, it's just a question around the transformation fund. The earlier report on the agenda and the Accounts Commission obviously highlights the challenges that all councils face. And we've obviously had a recent best value audit report, which will be considered, as I understand, by the next standing meeting of the council. And the Accounts Commission obviously plays great store by transformation. I'm not saying they say it's the golden bullet or whatever, but they certainly suggest that really council sustainable, we need to go through significant transformation, and that's obviously different forms in terms of transformation. So it'd be useful to understand what sort of timescale we're working towards having proposals for utilising this particular fund, and when those, I suppose, those proposals will come before this committee.
Thanks, Steve. Chief Jack?
Convener, we're acutely aware that transformations fund meant the well-being of the council, but in this new correct transformation. And the council has gone through a number of transformation programmes in the past, which I think was probably the incorrect transformation. And the one example that I do cite that wasn't successful was shared services. And we stepped away from that. What we're attempting to do within the board is spend the first tranche of money in terms of digital transformation. But our focus is now very much on the wider transformation agenda, and I would hope that we bring proposals to the committee between October and November of this year.
Okay, thank you.
Councillor Ryan?
Yeah, my question, I don't mind if we speak it offline, is just around the Clyde AI chatbot. I'm aware it's been rolled out for a few months now. I'm just wondering if we're seeing any tangible feedback on the reduction calls to the customer service centre and its effectiveness. I can see in the appendix that we do have AI agent question conversations and the like and dislike feedback button metrics being put out there, but I'm just wondering if we've actually got anything tangible to say that our customer service calls decreased by X amount since the implementation. I understand that that's maybe not accessible right now in this meeting.
I don't have figures, and I'm not sure if Alan does, but he can come in if he does. But I think it's probably still too early at this stage. So we did ask for a longer period for this to conclude the then. We did see that there was a peak in usage at the beginning. We wanted to kind of settle down to see what impact it actually has on the use of customer services. But that is something that we're monitoring closely. And I don't know, this might be when we have more accurate figures around it.
Alan, did you hear that? Is there any kind of figures on? Yeah.
At the moment, we're actually seeing an increase in calls within customer service centre in response to the Greenock Central project. So it's kind of masking business as usual within the centre, but the rate of as Councillor noted, the rate of question to conversation change is really quite positive, because what that means is that people are actually engaging with the chatbot. So they'll start with an initial question and then they'll follow up with additional information. Just for information, the type of questions we've had today are around parking, IJB meetings, details for debt recovery teams. So it's across the widest spectrum of questions that we would expect to get into the customer service centre. So we're hopeful that we'll start to see, once the conversations around the roadworks and the demolition settles down, we should see a positive impact on services.
Okay, so just, thank you. So that makes sense what you can tweet for baseline, and I understand what Alan said there around increasing calls due to the Central project. Is there not a way of us filtering those out though, or are we applying at maximum? Because I'm aware that we've got them in the website set up for the Great Central project, and if so many people having to call up this, either that would suggest that we need to do a bit of comms, or we need to have the chat up or something like that. And once again, have to chat on this offline, so I kind of feel like this has moved away from the essence of the paper. But yeah, if we could at some point, once we've kind of had long enough for that baseline to stabilise, have a look at the figures just to see if it has made differences ultimately as part of transformation, and everything's where AI is happening around us, but we want to make sure, as the Chief Exec said, that the changes that we're making are impactful and meaningful, so that people can get the answers that they need when they need it, but also we're reducing pressures elsewhere where we can.
Yeah, I think we could kind of monitor, right?
Thank you. Yeah, so that was the reason that we did this in a trial period, it was to monitor that. We're just, I think, too early to get reliable numbers on the that's certainly the conclusion that we'll keep now.
Perfect, thank you so much. Thanks, excellent.
Councillor Wilson, David?
Yeah, thank you, convener. This is just an administrative point. I've gone on about it over the years. I think it's a very interesting and good report, but in my view, it's let down from pages 99 to 104 by the lack of any colour and any distinguishing in the charts. Outside bodies I go to with charts like these have them in colour, and I would request in future we have coloured charts so as we can properly distinguish the good and the bad. Thank you.
Thank you.
We're obviously giving your outside body too much money.
Aye. If your budget...
Well, I'm glad it's been taken seriously. That's
Alan, I was going to ask a question on the AI. You know, obviously, it's something that's came in and it's really going at a pace. And just like David, I've done some training out another outside body on AI, and I know we haven't get down in here within the council, so I don't know if that would be something that we would look to do, because maybe some of us could do is an update on the AI, never mind anyone else out there. So I don't know with you, but if there's a possibility, it's something we probably look at, I suppose, going forward.
Yep, I'm happy to kind of give members a briefing. We're in the middle of pulling together a wider AI strategy paper for the council in general as well, so it may be appropriate when we've completed that.
Thank you for that. Councillor Curley.
Just on that, yeah, it's the AI is growing from bounds, as you're saying. I think I've been a bit slow, I'm a bit of a Luddite in my professional career, but I'm starting to use it, and a lot of the sort of the number crunching, the hard work, what would maybe take you 3 or 4 hours to do by old-fashioned ways, it does within about 30 seconds. So it really is a game changer in a lot of stuff that we need to do, a lot of data manipulation and things like that. So it'll be interesting to see what the paper comes to us from officers.
Aye. Yeah, well, that's something we keep around, Chris.
And I welcome or AI, future AI overlords.
I'm not going to let somebody else say to me about it, but okay, well, I think we better move on. We're digging ourselves a hole. We're in a private session now, is that right? For the next 2 agenda items. Yeah, remember the thought. Or mine, or is you, please. Leave.